And happy Survivor Girl Sunday, everybody. So glad that you are joining me on Survivor Girl today, National Women's Day. I don't know what's happening there. But hey, guys, I'm so glad that you're here. I am going to go ahead with the disclaimer before we get too far into it. Survivor Girl Podcast is a production of Strange Friends Media Group. Myself and guests on SGP are not doctors, therapists, counselors, or trained medical professionals, actually. We are not here to treat, diagnose, or prescribe by any means of treatment. Survivor Girl Podcast is here to share our journeys and what we've overcome in hopes of inspiring, uplifting, and empowering others. So I also want to go ahead and start with the shout outs today. One of the things I want to mention is Ladies Night coming up at the Vault on March 27th. I'm very excited, going to be there to help introduce the bands. That's at 110 Florence Street in Saginaw. And the bands that are going to be there are Sugar Punk Fairies, Audrey Byrne, and Don't Speak, which is a No Doubt tribute band, which is really exciting. Looking forward to that. The Vault is a new venue that's opened up over there in Saginaw. I was at the last show that they had last month on Valentine's Day. It was a lot of fun. It's Ladies' Night because of... Okay, I'm in the middle. Okay. Okay, guys. So today, a lot of things have changed up a little bit. There's some stuff going on here in the studio, trying to get everything together. I am not good when I have little cues or stuff that is happening around. I just kind of stop and have to listen, so I apologize for that. Glad you guys are still here. I was talking about the Vault. We're excited about being able to be there representing Survivor Girl and all that fun stuff. Hope you guys will be able to join us. Also giving a shout out to Nails by Dawn or Nails with Dawn. Rarity Nails, check her out on Facebook. She keeps me in my nails that are sparkly purple and all kinds of different colors. Check that out. And also to Stone Cottage Farm, we're giving a shout out to them again. Love them. Check them out. All kinds of different soaps and all kinds of things that they've got there, all natural. They're going to be starting the farmer market road trip, so you guys can find them throughout different places this summer coming up. So we're looking forward to that. Hey, everybody joining in chat. Hope that you guys are doing good this Sunday, getting out, enjoying that beautiful weather. So happy that you guys are here. So a couple things changed up before we started the show. Roxanne wasn't able to make it today, so I have Tony actually joining me here, and it's been a minute since he's been on the show, and on National Women's Day, actually. So we're going to hang out, we're going to riff back and forth and talk about a couple different things that we've been experiencing, different things that have been going on. He is my co-host on Don't Make This Weird, and good to see you back, man.
How's it going?
It's going. How have things been?
Crazy busy. There's been a lot of stuff that we've done behind the scenes, and in developing the shows, making them to a higher level of production, and just knocking off the rough edges and polishing them to a smooth glisten, I guess.
Yeah. There's always something going on, and one of the great things that I like about not just being on the podcast with you, but our friendship that we've had, we are able to talk about all kinds of different things. We're able to be transparent not only with each other, but when we are live on Don't Make This Weird. That's one of the things that I really like about us riffing back and forth when we do that show. Usually we have Chris hanging out with us on the Don't Make This Weird show, but it's been a little while since he's been on. So some of the stuff from Survivor Girl and some of our talks that we have kind of cross over and come into the real good, fuzzy, feel good stuff, which is kind of different for Don't Make This Weird. So with us hanging out today, we can kind of get a little bit more into that as well. And we also in chat have Candy hanging out. She says, hello, family. Hey, Candy. Candy from 6 Degrees Truth Serum and Serenity Cooperative. You guys can check her out on Facebook. Go give them some likes, some love, share, and post that out there. I know when I was doing the shout outs, I also forgot to mention Corky's Dream, which is another really cool one. That is in the future is going to be a women's shelter with an animal shelter put together. So with that being said as well, we're kind of working on something else, another big project. You just kind of got thrown in there with me, like usual, when I come into the studio and I'm just like, hey, I got something new, something exciting. Let's try something more. Let's add something else. You're going to be joining me working on Thrive to Survive Fest.
It's kind of like Kramer busting into the studio. Hey, we're doing this.
Pretty much.
Well, okay. What
Pretty
is
much.
this?
I'm trying to curb my enthusiasm a little bit more to
Don't
kind
though.
of,
That's
well,
what makes you you.
for sure. But one of the things that I mean by that is I get myself into a lot of trouble sometimes because I put a lot of stuff down and a lot of things that I want to do. And I don't really sort very well to
Mhm.
all the different things sometimes because I feel like, okay, here's my plate, here's the pile. And I keep adding to it before I get a chance to get through a lot
Yeah.
of those things. So I'm learning, getting a little smarter in my older age, and trying to sort it out though. Like I actually sat down with Adam and we wrote out the list of the different stuff that I want to do because I can't stop doing stuff, but I'm trying to prioritize a little bit better.
Right.
But you're right though, it is kind of like Kramer just popping through the door with the wild hair and just like, this is what we're doing today. So, with Thrive to Survive Fest, it's really cool to have, joining with that and the different stuff that we've got going on around here because Thrive to Survive Fest and Survivor Girl
Mhm.
actually started as a conversation that you and I had out there in your garage.
So many years ago now.
So many, like,
It's
isn't it
crazy
crazy?
how fast time flies.
Oh, for sure.
Because I remember very vividly when you came to me and you're like, "We're doing this," and I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, go on, explain to me what it is that we're doing."
And I just kind of like one of my favorite things that we've always had with our friendship, like I said before, is like riffing and being transparent with each
Yeah,
other.
absolutely.
And one of the things that was funny because we're kind of like back and forth talking, about this whole thing. And with Survivor Girl, it started out as me wanting to do a makeup project.
Yeah.
And with makeup, what I mean is I wanted to create something that was low chemical, and something that was good for people that have gone through cancer, for instance, or anything like that. Something that was healthier, a healthier product. And a
I
lot of
think the
it's,
joke that you talked about at one point is you wanted makeup that was gluten free.
well, I mean, I'm not done thinking about that. but it is a good thing because you can actually make gluten-free makeup and a lot less chemicals and everything, which is something that I've done a lot of research on as well. But when we started it,
Yeah.
we kind of, our friend Leon had put together a survival kind of weekend thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were doing when we were doing the survival thing was putting packs together
Mhm.
to go out and do the camping. Well, at that time, I was absolutely like, okay, I'll put together a pack, knowing full well in my mind, I'm not doing this. I will have something ready if I decide I'm going to. But because of where I was, health wise, weight wise, and everything, I
Yeah.
felt like at that time I was just going to
Go
keep
on
you guys
without me.
pretty much, yeah. But one of the things that we were doing with that was we had pop lids from the bottles
Mhm.
glued together so that when you took off the lid, you could store stuff inside
Mhm.
those.
Yeah.
And then we were also making these like straw things where you actually burn the end after you put stuff in there
Mhm.
too. And I was
Yeah.
like, how cool would that be if I had like this little survival makeup kit? And then it just went from there and went into this whole thing about Survivor Girl and wanting to have makeup artists to go to hospitals to with this makeup and to women's shelters to help them with getting their jobs and learning how to do this makeup and have a gift of makeup from Survivor Girl to start them out and get them going, have funding for this stuff. And it's
Yeah.
something that I still really am passionate about and really want to do. It's just Survivor Girl kind of went and went a different way, which is great because it's
Right.
still really, really positive.
Well, and that was one of the things that we had bantered back and forth about of having a place of origin to where people can get behind the line.
Right.
Because Survivor Girl podcast makes it easily approachable to where people can chime in and be on chat or whatever it is. And then the fact that originally it started out as a makeup line.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I'm obviously not a girl or woman or whatever it is you
Right.
but hell yeah, I would want something that is a survival pack or whatever it is because I think that's really cool. Because
Right.
you look at all this stuff that they have going on with all these crazy ads on YouTube of shaving your bits and pieces now is something that's acceptable in marketing. So I'm sure, being that Survivor Girl is a brand and
Mhm.
not just exclusive to girls, which is something that we've talked
Yeah.
about, you know, flip flopping on both sides of the fence here of making products for guys and making products
Oh,
for
for sure.
girls.
Yeah. And that was another thing too that we had talked or I tried to talk about, in the past episodes and have talked about is Survivor Girl isn't just for women.
Right,
It's for everybody.
right.
It's for men, it's for everybody. And that was one of the things too with today's announcement for International Women's Day.
Oh,
On there is yes, we appreciate all the guys that are on Survivor Girl that support women and it's support for everybody.
right. All I can think of is Deadpool. And I'm going, nope, nope, nope.
Jeez. But I look forward to still continuing with the idea of the makeup line and
Yeah,
everything because that is
absolutely.
something that I definitely want to do and keep that in the future. But so like I said, Survivor Girl kind of did its own thing, and we went with having a podcast because I thought about doing a blog,
Hmm.
which I still would be interested in doing that as well because it's really about trying to put as many forms out there possible to help inspire, uplift, and empower other, not just women, others.
Well, I know with the
You know,
makeup line that there was a lot of different ideas of marketing part of it, and you had mentioned something about it even being a semblance of war paint because when you're surviving,
hmm
everybody has their I guess routines to where when they get up in battle, whether it's something to do with your head or something to do with your heart or the fact that you were suffering some sort of physical setback.
oh, for sure, yeah,
It's a fight to get up every day. So put on your war paint,
yeah.
do what it is you got to do.
Yeah, and when you talk about it that way, that was a huge another reason why I wanted to do makeup is because when I was going through it, I fortunately did not have to go through chemo or
Hmm.
go through radiation or
Right,
any of that stuff, but I've seen people that go through it. With my mom, she didn't go through it either,
right.
but she did lose her battle. But one of the things while her going through her battle was her watching her decline. There was all kinds of different stuff with that weight
Hmm.
loss. You lose hair, you do, all kinds of different stuff. And for me, when I was going through it, makeup was a huge thing to help me
Yeah,
feel better about myself. And it always has been throughout my life.
right.
So that was another reason why, Survivor Girl and makeup cosmetics was a huge thing because it, if you understand that makeup isn't to cover and hide things.
Right.
Just like Survivor Girl isn't hiding things, it isn't covering up scars, it isn't covering up these things. It was more or less to be to empower, to help, to there's been times in my life where with makeup, and I'm not good at the whole contouring, highlighting, all that business. I haven't
Right.
learned all of that stuff.
You
There
ever
are
watch all
women.
those crazy videos on
I,
YouTube
I've
where
watched them, but I'm not saying I'm good at it. But I've seen, there's so many different videos and different women and even men that are incredible at doing these. And I'm not saying that that's part
I'm
of it,
not one of them.
but I still love the fact that if I'm having a rough day, one of my two of my go-tos for it is putting on makeup
Right.
and putting on something that's bright. Usually you'll notice if
Hmm.
I'm trying to have a better day, I'll put something on that's brighter color to
Yeah.
help cheer my spirit.
Or purple.
Or purple.
Wait, you're always wearing
Purple.
purple.
Not always. I'd have a lot of black in my wardrobe too. But
You're getting looks from the
I
studio
am.
audience.
I need more purple. So,
Right.
but that was another thing too, though, is just the fact that for me, makeup wasn't about hiding or covering up anything. It was about accenting and making me feel more positive and confident and everything. And like I said, in the past, I've experienced, oh, well, you're putting that makeup, who are you putting that makeup on for? What are
Right.
prior to Adam, just saying, who are you putting the makeup on for? What are you doing with that? Why?
Right.
I'm putting it on for myself.
Well, right. You're
You know,
accentuating the beauty that's already there,
right,
as opposed to going, "Well, I'm going to cover this up because I've got the flappy chin or whatnot." Who cares?
right.
Be you, be proud.
And to those that do all the highlighting and contouring, like good on you because it looks pretty freaking cool. I just can't do it
Right.
myself. But and that was the whole other part of Survivor Girl too, though, was
Yeah.
being able to have makeup artist on hand that could help and teach that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's just the whole idea of helping uplift others, even stemming from cosmetics to where we're at now and wanting to go on the road and do public speaking and not just do the podcast. I mean, there's so much more that can be done with what the platform that we're doing right now.
One of the things that you kept driving home was the whole empowerment thing of whether it was makeup or clothes or opportunities or networks with people to just empower them to do something either better or something that they've never had the courage to do, so they just to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, I could use a new wardrobe.
I mean, really though,
Right.
there could be so many different things that you could take with this. And, one of the things that we've kind of together have done with Don't Make This Weird, Strange Friends Media and all that stuff is that we have made it about promoting and, helping other people, networking and doing that kind of stuff. And why would Survivor Girl be any different with helping to network with that as well? And that was where we come in with Thrive to Survive Fest. One of the big things that the vision of that is bringing those kind of connections with, Cancer Society and all these different ones that we're still trying to contact to have there, because once you get the people all together, and they're able to talk one-on-one instead of looking at it online. When you have a human connection, when you're face-to-face and you have that kind of connection, I feel like you receive the information better.
Yeah.
Well,
it's all about that cross-platform promotion stuff. Because, we've done stuff with, Mitch's Fake Radio.
Mm-hmm.
This is my brain. We've got so many different events that we either work in MC or out in front, or we're behind and doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff to where we're not out in front and going, hey, here we are, we don't know what we're doing, but we're doing it anyways. But we're involved in so many projects.
Oh yeah. Yep. And that's a whole nother thing that we've constantly have talked about is all of the things that we're thankful that we're able to do. There's so many different opportunities that we've had, and it's been very cool. We were able to help with sponsoring Leading Ladies for Survivor Girl. We were there for Tuscaloosa as Survivor Girl and as Don't Make This Weird as sponsors. And, we're looking at doing more of that stuff as the festival season comes up. So with that being said, and bringing in Thrive to Survive Fest, all those people that we've helped with promoting are interested in jumping on and helping as well, which is really super cool and very appreciated. The whole idea behind it is just being able to connect people with that festival kind of atmosphere as well, because I don't want it to all be just so, all serious and glum and stuff like that. I'm not saying that that's what it's all about, because having that connection and being able to find information on what it is that you're going through and having somebody that understands is amazing to begin with. And that's the whole drive behind Thrive to Survive Fest. But then you add in, the bands that are going to be on stage, the food trucks that you're able to try different food at, possibly different like games and stuff at the festival, and going to different vendors that are trying to sell their wares, their natural, like Stone Cottage Farms, for instance, or any other ones that are able to join us for that. It's just a really cool kind of setting. And what a better place to have it at than the Vault.
Absolutely.
When Bill offered it, I was like, yeah,
Seriously?
let's do this. They're starting out. I'm starting this out for the first year, and just being able to have that connection to be able to do something cool like this in such a good spot, I'm excited about it, and I'm so thankful of that, the supporters and everybody else that has been a huge part of helping with Survivor Girl and, putting us out there. It's so appreciative, because I never expected to be here,
Well, and that's the thing is, I think with a lot of the challenges that we have had growing together and doing this business is, I want to do this, but I'm afraid to fail.
Mm-hmm. Very real.
You sent me a quote the other day, and I can't remember what it was, but it was, we're our best when we're better, or something like that.
It came off of the top of my head when we were talking. But
it was like, that is brilliant, because that's what we're actively doing, because we continually put challenges in front of each other.
Yeah.
To go, hey, we're going to do this together.
Right.
And if we're failing together. But we're going to succeed because we know how hard we can push ourselves.
Absolutely. And
You're
that's
not
what
going to beat me.
that was the thing. The quote was, we're at our best when we're better.
Yeah.
I think. Hold on. Let me double check. I don't
We
want to
get on
quote
chat.
I don't want to quote myself wrong here. You know what I
Quote
mean?
yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here.
But no, it was great because we were talking about the exercise routine that I've been doing with me and my daughter.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah,
she's
yeah.
my workout buddy. And Adam's like, "What's that?" And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh, it's my pull-up bar." And he was like, "Pull-up bar? What do you mean?" I said, "Well, when you do different exercises." And I was explaining to him, and he's like crunched over in the hallway going, "No." And I'm like, "Come on, I'll challenge you to do it with me." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Well, where do I get one?" I'm like, "There's one at the local Goodwill." So
Right.
I go to the local Goodwill and get it, and I message you, and I'm like, "Are you home?" And you go, "Yeah, but I'll be there in 5 minutes." Just no explanation.
Right. There
just,
was nothing.
I'm just showing up, and I show up, and I've got this pull-up bar that I bought from Goodwill, and I handed it to Adam and went, "Challenge accepted." And he's like, "Sweet."
Yeah. I found my quote.
Yeah. What was your quote? Go ahead.
We are better at our best.
Yeah.
That's what
it
came
was.
that's what came out while we were talking. We are better at our best. And it really is true.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't know what our best is, or what direction it is that we are supposed to really be going at. And we both have been kind of talking about this lately on Don't Make This Weird, about where we're at, because if we started as friends 6 years ago, and if you go back to that day or that time when we became friends, we're such different people now.
Good Lord, we've grown in leaps and bounds, not only individually, but just as confidants and friends, because some of the conversations I think about that we've had in the past, that it was just a matter of growth
Right.
and time and pressure, to where we're no longer two pieces of coal in the front yard. It's just
Right.
like, "Hey, look, you're shining today."
You're a lot shinier than I remember you,
Right.
But it's true. Like, it's true. And, any friendship, anything like that, any partnership or whatever, it's awesome that you can, when you can grow,
Yeah.
that's important. That's important as an individual. That's important as a collective,
Well, like you were talking about, we weren't afraid to call each other on the carpet when our shortcomings manifested. And it's like, "What are you doing? You're better than that."
Yeah.
And there was never any animosity or any of that of, "Wow, you're being extra dickish today."
Right.
It was, "Okay, help me through this process, because obviously this is something that you're seeing I'm struggling with. And if I'm honest, I'm struggling with myself."
Right.
But, there's been a lot of growth and maturity in that, to go, "Okay, I don't know how to navigate this, but collectively, that's been the drive to help each other become better."
Right. Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, because sometimes navigating friendships, relationships, partnerships,
Yeah.
it's tricky. And I know on a past show, I've had this conversation with Becky when she was my host on here too. We talked about that, how to navigate a friendship when you don't know how to navigate a friendship. When you're just starting out, you don't always understand, because you don't know the person 100%
Right.
either. And sometimes in life you may be friends for a long time and still not know the person very well. Things change, people change, and it's really hard and very rare sometimes when you actually have such a solid friendship or partnership or whatever, to where you're able to do such things.
Well, and especially with the opposite sex, because there's a lot of those taboos that come along of, "Oh, they're spending a lot of time together.
Right.
That means they're doing something."
Right.
How about just the fact that you have connected with another person to go, "I don't have to explain myself, because they've been through the similar experiences that I have and get it."
Right.
So, and that's a lot of that stuff, to where you and I have went, "Wait a minute, you've gone through that? I've gone through that.
Yeah.
How did you get through that? Because I'm still struggling with it."
Well,
Or vice versa,
right. But if you think about it, okay, so after my my divorce,
Yeah.
well, before my divorce, actually, I had the house still.
Yeah.
So I had the house, I had the 2 dogs. I was still trying to keep everything together on my Walmart paycheck at the time. And that was back in January, or, well, not January, but 2011. So a lot harder then
Oh,
than it
absolutely.
is now. And at the time, like I had a friend that was a close friend. He was actually mutual friends with my ex-husband and myself.
Right.
And I told him he was looking for a place. And I said, hey, I have a room. You know, I could really use the help. There was no anything behind it. There
Right.
wasn't any, miscommunication. There wasn't any feelings there. There wasn't, we were friends,
Right.
and at that time, that was comfort. Who knew that 7 years later we were still living together?
Right.
We would still be living together through relationships and different things that we both had, and we're still very strong and became close family.
Right.
But in the beginning, he fought me about moving in because he was afraid, even though he had a girlfriend,
Right.
he was afraid that people were going to look at me badly.
Right.
But in the society that we live in, he wasn't wrong. People talked. People were like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on there," And to be honest, the most thing that ever happened between him and I was a hug and me crying on his shoulder because he was there for me. And it can happen.
Right.
There's been people I've seen question that on Facebook over and over. Can men and women have a relationship without anything else going on? Can the opposite sex have a relationship without anything going on? And yes.
Absolutely.
There's proof there that, me and him are roommates. We worked great together as roommates, and we're still friends, even though we don't live together anymore. We still check in on each other and say, hey, you doing all right? You good?
Well, I thought it was really funny that you were talking about your one roommate that you had when you guys would collect the rent from each other. And he'd slide it under the door and be like, this is for face surgery.
Yeah, he was.
And it was just fun stuff because you guys knew how to mess with each other.
Yeah, he messed with me so much. So much. And it was fun though, because at that time, that really helped me. He helped me get through a lot, as did I, with him.
Right.
Like I said, we both went through several different relationships in those 7 years that we were, living together and everything. He got close to know my mom. When mom, was going through everything and I was going through stuff, he was very, supportive and there, even ran to the store to get me extra strength gas X when I wasn't feeling good after surgery. There was a lot of things though, and that relationship, that friendship, incredible to have something like that and to be, to be able to have that kind of relationship without there being anything more.
Right.
And it does happen. It can happen, And to have somebody that's kind of strong like that and becomes a family member to you. And even now, like I told him, we're family.
Yeah.
You're not denying it.
You're stuck with me.
And that's okay. We both are like, yeah, that's cool. So that's kind of things are something that, it can happen. It can be, you can trust people to have those kind of friendships and relationships and things. Are there times when they have a different agenda? That happens too. I've been there too, and that's not fun either. He went through a lot of those things with me. I've talked on past shows of, I didn't actually come out and tell the story, so I might actually talk about this today.
Okay.
During those times when we lived together, I ended up deciding that I was going to try to do some dating, and I picked one of the horrible dating apps, one of the worst ones. And I say that because, for one, me being naive, I wasn't thinking that this actual app was something that was bad. I thought it was for actually dating, but it was called Date Hookup. And then after, I was like, oh, stupid. No wonder why guys are messaging you thinking it's something more, that you want something more. So I ended up talking with this guy, and we started dating. And we dated for probably about, I think, 2-3 months. And it's scary to talk about this. I think you were me and you became friends after all this happened. So it's scary to talk about it because I've been free of this person for a while. And anyway, it seemed normal.
Right.
Like they always usually do. Like, seem normal.
They say the same thing about serial killers.
Right. That's, now that you bring that up, is a very good point. Okay.
He seems so normal. He had a little dog and his white picket fence.
Okay. So there's proof. Okay, guys, remember that. Seems normal. Take that into
John Wayne Gacy, just saying.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy.
Take that into account. Okay. Right. So I started seeing this person, and he, like I said, seemed like he was a normal guy. We went out a couple times, met Frankenmuth, went, out a couple times. And then, he had kids. Yeah. So I met his little boy. And of course, me not being able to have kids, I was like, oh, what a cute boy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, we're becoming closer, whatever. And then things just kind of flipped. He had this job where he was able to pretty much locate people, all kinds of different things. Like in this job, it was part of it. You could get online and find pretty much anybody, right? So he started coming around. I thought things were cool. He was safe.
Right.
And he turned out to be a raging narcissistic alcoholic who turned into a stalker. He was the first time that I decided that something's not right here. Something's not right. I was heading to work. I got to work. He had called me because I didn't answer his text. He proceeded to call me 17 times in a row. Wow. With all kinds of various messages. Every call, there was a message. And to be fired back with text messages on top of it. 11. Boom, 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 boom. When I finally stopped and I got a chance to listen, I was so shooken up and so upset and so scared and crying, sick. He had turned it to, where are you? Who are you with? Threats, all kinds of weird, crazy stuff, to my weight. Picking on every little thing that he could possibly pick on, any little thing that he could point out to bring me down to be like this big, to, I'm sorry, I love you and care about you. I don't know why I said that. I don't know what happened. It was so psychotic.
Bipolar Express.
And I never experienced anything like that before that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I had shares of horrible dates off of those stupid dating apps. I'll get into that later, but I'm not going to talk about those dates. But, however, you know, he turned out to be psychotic,
right.
Just an alcoholic. Who knows what else was going on? Mental, obviously.
Right.
So, you know, he'd show up out of the blue, follow me around at work. One time he was there, he kicked me in the middle of my back, and while I was working, pushing a cart around, he's following me. And I was so scared because he could find anybody. Yeah. He told me that day when that actually happened, I walked out and he made me get in the car with him. And he told me if I didn't get in the car, at this time when my mom was still alive, that he would show up to her place, and gave me the address where she lived. Never told him, never said anything. So I started, because me and my mom were very close.
Right.
I talked with her. She actually wanted me to move out of the country because she was so scared for my life.
So how did you get past all of
that? You know, I'm not really sure. I mean, there was another lady that contacted me who knew him off of Facebook as well, and told me all the nightmares of stuff that he did to her. Broken bones, him showing up at a court case for her son, sitting behind her, kicking the back of her chair, taking pictures outside of her house to say, hey, I'm here. All kinds of just craziness, okay? And I finally just got to the point where I called the cops. The cops called him. There must have been more on him that they knew of.
Right.
Because they didn't even look at my text messages or any of that kind of stuff. They automatically called him up and told him it was in his best interest not to call me.
Right.
Not to contact me. And if he did, that they would find him. They would come after him. So there must have been so much more against him because of his craziness. And, you know, there was a point where he had said, you know, my old cat that I have, he used to call him Jerry. And he's like, well, it would be a shame if Jerry just came up dead someday. Because this crazy psycho,
right.
I would be at the house. Like one time he just pretty much kept me locked in my room. And Jason was there, but I was so terrified of what he could do.
Right.
Because after he told me he could find my mom's address, the same day, like I was locked in my room pretty much. To go to the bathroom, he would unlock the bathroom from outside to come in. I had no privacy in this time. And when that stuff was going on, like when I went in the bathroom and I came back, I had found that he had rifled through all my stuff and was asking me about old journal entries and just crazy stuff, you know. So I started kind of telling Jason a little bit
Yeah.
the day that he messaged me and said, if I can't come there and I can't be by you, I'm going to stay out in your parking lot just to be close to you.
That's creepy. A lot.
Very creepy. I mean, I went and I like locked up the door, all the locks on the door, and Jason came out to go get pizza or something. And he looks at me and he goes, "Why are we locked up like Fort Knox?"
Right.
You know, and I told him what was going on. I finally told him. I broke down because his safety also was in danger.
Right.
And he kept baseball bats by the door and he said, "He comes here, I'm going to his face up." You know, and Jason's a smaller dude, you know.
Right,
but
right.
I feel that if it came down to it to have protected me, he would have done something to protect me.
Oh, of course.
You know, and I asked the cops, I'm like, you know, I couldn't take it because when I started to get away from him, my messages and my phone kept on blowing up.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Can I just change my number? I want to just change my number." "Well, if you change your number, then you won't have him calling and messaging, and that evidence will help you to get any kind of case, you know, for stalking."
Right.
I look in, you know, here's the thing is with the whole stalking thing, and this is where it gets really very scary, messed up. Until they actually physically do something to you or kill you,
Right.
there isn't anything that they really can do.
Right.
So at that time, I'm thinking, I'm going to get myself an open carry. I'm going to do this. You know, he's threatening me about mental health.
Right.
He's threatening me on all kinds of stuff. You know, there's more that happened in it. And I'm going to spare some details because I don't know if some of my family members, if they're listening right now, I don't need them to know about all of it. The truth is he was nuts, scary.
Right. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Telling me that he had cancer.
Right.
Just trying to make me feel bad, try to come back, trying to whatever.
Right.
You know, and there was just so much stuff. He's crazy. He made up a different Facebook account to message me. I mean, and then one message that he sent me, he was just like, "I'm happy to see that you're actually showing who you are and this and that." And I'm just, what are you talking about? You know, and I went for a while without hearing anything, and it was so nice. Like, it was a relief. But I still watched over my shoulder because he
course.
knew where I lived. I never knew, you know, and even doing this stuff, like I'm terrified sometimes that he's just gonna show up out of the blue and know where I'm at now.
Well, you
Just
got a lot more security now.
I mean, yeah, it's true. I do, you know, but it's still still a fear.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
I mean,
and
that's-
I look into it. I look into him to find out, you know, where is he at? Because I want to know. I want to know where he's at. Am I going to run into this person? And to bring it up, you know, he showed up to Bronner's.
Yeah.
Messaging me when I had the old phone number. You know, this is where I'm at Bronner's.
Oh yeah.
Good. I'm staying wherever the hell I can away from you, you freaking
Right.
psycho. But
Right.
he, you know, he did stuff too because I was so afraid of him.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have somebody who's narcissistic and they gaslight you and they make you feel like you're the person that's in the wrong,
Yeah.
you know, what are people going to say if they knew this and this and that? You know, there was forcing himself, there was manipulation, there
Right.
was all kinds of things. And, you know, to come at me and say, well, your mental health or this or that, or use whatever he could against me to try to make me look bad and try to make me feel bad for breaking it off from him for being a freaking nut job.
And that's scary when you're around a person who has to be in control all of the time. All of those things to the extreme that you were just, you know, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the narcissism, all of that. I mean, it's scary because there is no limit to what they're willing to go through to just keep you under their thumb.
There isn't. There isn't. There was a time when I was actually watching my mom's home.
Right.
And he showed up there.
Yeah.
And that's when, unfortunately, forcing his way through and forcing himself on me,
Right.
you know, happened.
Right.
And it was scary. It was terrifying because I was afraid, what is he going to do to my mom?
Right.
If he's going to do this kind of thing. And I was so terrified of him that I felt like for a long time I just let stuff happen because
You didn't know any
I
other
got
way.
scared.
Right.
I got scared. You know, he's threatening to kill my cat who is the main thing, which sounds funny, but not being able to have kids, but I didn't know that at the time, but I didn't have kids.
Right.
He was my glue. He was my present from, my divorce. And the really bad thing is, and I hope you guys are hearing me here, is when I went through that divorce and that stuff happened, I felt like it was my fault. I felt like I deserved that. I know better now because I know I didn't. Nobody does.
Right.
Nobody deserves that. Terrifying, that situation, putting up with something like that, and it should be reported. There's been times of things that have happened in my life that I have not reported. Sad thing is though, sometimes when things are reported, they don't look at you and listen to what you have to say either, and it's scary.
So
Things need to change.
How did you combat that mentally and emotionally to rise above the situation? Because I mean, we've talked several times about how, in my humble opinion, you are a freaking boss when it comes to mental and emotional fortitude. And something like this, obviously, one, you're never expecting it, and two, when it happens, you're still going, is this really going on? You're questioning a lot of that stuff. But now that it's happened and you went, okay, I've got my eyes a little more open. What would you tell somebody that's going through that to help them have the resiliency to make it through that? Because that's scary.
It's beyond scary. It's terrifying, and unfortunately, it's different for every woman or man. Even if there's men that are stalked too. There's so many things that happen to stalking victims that, unfortunately, a lot of times it ends in death. It ends in murder. And it's scary.
Right.
For me, I think it was because I just kept on pushing him away. I kept on blocking. I kept on trying to, and luckily for a long time he stopped. He stopped messaging. He stopped coming around. He stopped trying to threaten my life, and I moved forward and I moved on. And honestly, at that time, it was before I even ended up, getting sick or any of that stuff. And
Right.
I wasn't as good. I wasn't as healthy in mind mentally right now as I am now. But it can change. It can get better. Stick to your guns. I would definitely look into self-defense class. I never
Absolutely.
did. Now that I have better health, I definitely would try it.
Well, you
Look into
can't
self-defense.
you can't sleep. I think it's
I mean,
hilarious.
I have more energy now to be able to, I think, have a fighting chance.
Right.
I don't know the first thing about throwing a good punch or anything, but if in that moment, I think that I would definitely be stepping up and being able to take care of my life
Right.
if I had to, And it's sad because I've witnessed, some people that one lady in particular who died from somebody who was a threat like that, and she died because she was protecting her child.
Yep.
And yeah, and you knew her as well.
Yep.
And it's sad because I think she started to get away from that, but when you're in the thick of it, you don't know where to turn.
It's really
and they
hard.
make you feel like you can't turn anywhere.
Well, it's really
They're
hard.
going to find out. They're going to hurt you.
It's really hard to see the forest between the trees when you're in neck deep in something like that. And I mean,
Yeah.
relationships like those are an absolute nightmare, and they're so messy because they're making you question everything you know about how the world exists.
Oh, absolutely. And if your mind is even working, like, am I reading into things that, like, in the beginning, before I found out that he was definitely not all there,
Right.
I was like, did I just imagine that?
Right.
Am I making stuff like, because I'll be honest with you, because of the past and things that I've experienced in my life, there's times even when I'm in a healthy relationship that I will purposely pick a fight, and I've done it recently with the love of my life. I will purposely nitpick things because I want to make sure if the shoe's gonna fall, it's
There's
gonna
totally
drop.
that
It's gonna
Braveheart right there. What you doing? I'm going to pick a fight.
going to pick a fight. I mean, though, I felt that way. And one thing, I wanted to talk in chat. Dawn said, watching your back all the time is terrifying. And,
Oh, it is.
and I know that she feels this on another level too. It is. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I wish that, there was more that the law would do. I want to look into these laws because it's scary. It's not right.
No.
It's not right that, if you're terrified because someone's stalking you and they're threatening you, there needs to be more that people that can be done for these people because your whole life gets turned upside down. You are on the edge wherever you're going, whatever it is that you're doing. It's terrifying, and no one should ever have to live that way. And if you're somebody who is doing this to people, I pray that you get help
Right.
because you can get help as well, and I pray for those people. I pray maybe some people can't. I don't know, but I pray that they go talk to somebody about it.
Well, and I think in society, one of the biggest questions, a lot of people, because they get hung up in political issues or religious issues or whatever the social theme is of the moment. And I think the first question that we should be asking, as we've asked for all of these years, and now all of a sudden it's become taboo, is, are you okay?
Yeah. Well,
That should
yeah.
be the main priority of when you're talking to anybody is, hey, are you okay?
Mhm.
Did you eat today? Have you slept well? Do you need a shower? Do you need some laundry? How are you doing? Do that checkup from the neck up.
Yeah. And and I know sometimes I try to be better at that because
Yeah.
there's times too when sometimes when you ask somebody how they're feeling and they feel obligated, I think, to say that they're feeling good or that they're okay. You know what I mean? But then there's times when you're just like when you ask somebody that and they say that they're okay, but you can read between the lines and then you don't know how to help them too.
Right.
So I mean that is a big vicious kind of circle there. Even though I am pro check on people.
Yeah.
Even if I am going through a million different things, I try my best. I'm not very good at it all the time because you guys know, as we've talked about here before, there's all kinds of stuff that, I'm doing or whatever. So, I try my best and, it's all about finding the positive, even if you have been a victim, and trying to remember that victim is not your definition. Being a survivor, thriving through it, that's the big thing, I think.
Yeah.
Like I had said, I went through that. There was time where time went by, and it felt like such a great relief. I wasn't hearing from him. I wasn't dealing with it. It was great. And then out of the blue, I'd hear something.
Right.
And then it kept on, kept on, kept on, kept on, kept on. And it would be weeks or month or whatever. And I wouldn't answer. And even to the point where I had somebody tell me, that's not right. You should just answer him.
Wait, what?
I've told you what exactly has been going on, and I should answer him?
Yeah, no.
He's psycho.
There's no.
He needs help.
Terms and conditions apply. There is no obligation here.
Why
so
should I?
goodbye.
Well, maybe it would keep you from getting hurt.
What?
No, if I
No.
continue to keep this cycle with this person,
Yeah.
I'm going to be getting hurt either way.
Well, and I think that's the biggest thing is breaking that cycle, because on both sides of the fence, your life depends on it.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Good, bad, and ugly. You've got to do something to stand up to go, I'm not going to be afraid anymore, even if that means with the absolute certainty that I'm not going to see tomorrow. This person is going to, instead of you becoming the victim, you're the victor in standing up and taking your life back.
Yeah, I mean, it really does come down to that. And at one point, finally, he had messaged me.
Yeah.
And I said, what the fuck do you want? Excuse my language, but
Right.
that's exactly what I said. And you know what?
Right.
Never heard anything back from him.
Interesting.
Leave me alone.
Right.
I don't know. I've been thankful that I have not heard anything, and I hope I'm really not poking the bear here because I do not want to.
Well, but that's,
You know what I mean?
that's the thing is, back then it wasn't any less scary, and I'm sure, if it's a reoccurring thing, that it's not going to be any less scary.
Right.
I'm not speaking that into existence, but the fact remains is that the mental and emotional fortitude that you have now, plus the amount of people that you have in your life, I mean, you've put together quite a nice little tribe
Yeah.
of let someone mess with you.
Right.
Not to encourage that, but I dare them.
Well, and just for the record, Adam was a cage fighter, so no, and I
Welcome
say
to the
that
octagon.
we laugh about it and stuff, but with that being said, I've talked about the whole dating site or apps and everything, and they're very scary. You do have to be careful. Please be careful if you are trying them.
Yeah.
Not everybody on there is a creeper or horrible, obviously. I ended up meeting Adam. We met actually on Facebook on a Singles Mingles in Michigan. It is a legit thing. And there's been several people actually off of there that have found somebody too, and it's more filtered on there, and you actually talk. They have to ask you in comments if it's okay to message or anything like. There are rules in there. It's not
And
like
if you don't
dating.
follow them, you're booted.
You get booted out of there. So, and one of our other friends who met on there actually just got married, I think yesterday, so, I mean, it is a legit thing. And I felt a lot safer with that. So, I mean, things do change. I met Zach on a dating one too, so it just depends. I mean, this is the world that we live in now. We're more online than we are on,
In
meeting
real
in
life.
person and stuff
Right.
too. So I'm just saying, just be cautious. I would definitely look into the signs of being, stalkers and different things too, because honestly, I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was more to it. But before all of that happened, I had no idea like that was what I was up against. Me liking listening and watching like FBI shows and crime and murder
You
mystery.
like murder porn.
There was actually one on there though on Netflix that was about stalking. And I was
Right.
watching those and I was like, holy crap. That's
Right.
what I'm living right now.
Right.
And then with the guidance and help, from Jason and stuff, he's like, you need to call the cops.
Yeah.
Like, you need to. And then finally I went, okay, I'm going back to therapy. I'm talking with my therapist. I am figuring this out because I'm accepting this and thinking that I deserve it because of the things I've been through in the past.
Right.
Not cool.
No. Not at all.
So that was kind of the journey of moving forward and taking back my life and finding out what my life was at that time.
Well, I mean, you reminded yourself that it's okay to ask questions, to
Mhm.
educate yourself, to go, okay, if I'm the issue, let's eliminate that.
Right.
And let's take a long, hard look in the mirror to go, am I okay? I mean, which should be all of our first questions. Am I okay? Or is this, something that I have a delusion of or whatever? But if it's not, then there's a lot more validating questions of, okay, maybe they are a stalker and I should probably do something about this.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you've never experienced that
Right.
or had to deal with it, and if
Oh,
you come
absolutely.
from a place where you try to validate other people and, to be cautious about other people's feelings and different things, like you kind of, pussyfoot around that because you
Yeah.
don't know how not only to deal with it, but you're so used to being that yes person.
Right.
That gets you in that place.
Well, and that
They got me in that place. I'm not saying that everybody gets put in that place because they are that person, but
it also helps with
you know.
having a circle around you that is clued in.
Right.
Not meddling, not, well, I'm doing this on your behalf. No, it's, hey, you good?
Yeah.
How's your relationship doing? Are you guys, growing and maturing together? Or is there areas that you have that, are raising some red flags?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I were to go back and I would look at myself and dissect myself at that time, there was a lot of really bad habits,
Yeah.
bad things that I did, and a lot of things that I was holding in as well. So, it is really true that you do attract what you do put out there too. So I wasn't the healthiest at that time. I was dealing with a lot of stuff at that time. So that doesn't help.
Right.
So before moving forward and getting into other relationships, I did take the time to look at myself and find out what was going on with me inside as well.
Right.
And that's important. Sometimes it's hard to take that look at ourselves and wonder why, but also please remember that just because you have somebody who is stalking you, it doesn't mean that you are the person that is in the wrong, that you are the problem, that you are a failure, that you did anything wrong. Please remember that.
Yeah.
In my case, it was, okay, I was putting out a lot of bad stuff at the time. And like I said, I thought I deserved it at the time.
Right.
So I look back at that and I think about that because I know now, no, it wasn't me that deserved that, and nobody deserves that.
Right.
But please, if you are going through it, please contact somebody who can help you. There's lots of different domestic violence, different awareness places that you can contact the police. Like I said, there's times when things happen to where they're not completely able to 100% help you out, and that's devastating, and that needs to change.
But keep asking.
But
those
keep asking.
questions.
Yeah.
Keep seeking those people to get that help that you need. You know, and that's the thing is, when you get that help, then you become an inspiration for other people. Because when they hear your story, as you've continually shared in all these episodes, you know, you've made it through some pretty tough stuff.
Yeah.
And going, hey guys, I don't have it all figured out, but here I am trying to empower other people to do the stuff that I've done and to make it through the things that I've made it through.
Right. And that's another thing too, you know, yes, I've been through a lot. I started therapy as a young teenager, and you know, I continue to go back and forth between it because I understand that I'm not going to know everything and how to heal myself and how to get through it on my own. And
Right.
I've accepted that. There are some people that can.
Right.
For me, it's not the case. And I understand that, and I'm okay with that. And I'm transparent about that because I have put myself through a lot of trauma and tragedy and different things.
Right.
And I've had stuff that's happened in my life that I had no control over.
Yeah.
And even now, like I said, you know, with the relationship that I have with Adam, I went in the other day and I was to my therapist and I said, hey, I'm picking fights with him and I don't know why.
I'm going to
What
pick a fight.
am I doing? You know, honestly though, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Right.
Well, through being sick, you know, I went through going, I'm sleeping all the time. Well, obviously you have a cold, you're not feeling good. And I'm going, oh, this isn't like me. I'm boring and I'm old and I'm just doing all these stupid things, running myself in circles, you know. And because I'm sitting here looking at myself and dissecting what I'm doing wrong instead of
Right.
what I'm doing right,
Right.
I'm sitting here going, oh, you're upset now, right? I did that now. I'm upset. And that's, you know, I realized it though.
Right.
Here's the thing. I have become so much more healthier than I've ever been. And because I was able to realize that, I was able to realize that I was sick because of it wasn't depression, because depression for me, I want to cover up. I want to get in my cuddle stuff and bye world. I'm going to just sleep, not bye like that, but I'm going to cuddle up and I'm going to sleep. And when I get up, things will be better. You know,
Right.
I know that's depression for me, but I generally don't do that as much anymore either because I have a support system. Because I have positive morning messages, because I have such a great tribe and great friends and family that are supportive and understand that I'm human, even though I go through depression or I have anxiety. You know, it's awesome to have that support and understanding. And when you can talk about it and you have those people to understand that because you have talked about it,
Right.
what a great thing to have, so that you're able to see these things and to be able to keep moving forward. Because life is hard. Things are tough. There's a lot of things that we go through in life that can easily put us down, back down to where we were before. But if you remember that you're human and that you can make it through it, and don't pick at yourself or pick at the person that's closest to you and you love, it's not fair. It's not fair to them. So the sooner that you realize what's going on in your head and why you're doing these things,
Yeah.
good on you. Go talk to your therapist. Go talk to somebody that you trust. You know, don't let that fester inside you. And I think that's the big thing that helped me to keep on going, to not give up, and that helped me get through cancer too, to
That's
be
awesome.
honest. So,
Well, I found this thing because I go off on YouTube tangents all the time.
right?
And of course, I'm blowing up everybody and their brother to show, look what I found. Yay. But this one really, in fact, it was a couple hours before the show
Yep.
that I had sent it to you, and I went, this really spoke to me. And it says, think unconventionally. No fear of failure, no fear of success, no fear of rejection, no fear of humiliation, no fear of loss, no fear of uncertainty. Live with no regrets.
Yeah, and that's a great quote. I love that because to get your mindset on all of those things, it's a bit rough, but when you do,
Yeah.
holy warrior, keep on going, keep on going. There's so many things that can happen in life. And the more I wake up each day and I'm able to wake up each day,
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, what can I accomplish today that will make me feel proud?
That's why I started woodworking.
It's important though. It's important to have those things.
Yeah.
To keep yourself level, to keep yourself going and to have something that you wake up every day looking forward to. And this show is one of the huge things that I wake up for every day. I wake up for, all of you guys, positive morning messages, obviously Adam's smiling positive attitude. And I'm not saying that as a joke. He really is.
He's like uncannily optimistic about
Very much.
everything.
Very
I think
much.
It's great.
It helps somebody like me. It helps me out
Right.
hugely. Because with somebody like that in your corner,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, but honestly though, when you stop and you think about it and you have somebody like that, he helps me to see things differently. And he puts it out there in a different perspective of where I would never have thought about it.
Right.
And it's times when I'm like, well, so-and-so. And he's like, wait a minute, though.
Right.
Think about this.
Right.
And it opens up a whole another thing that I didn't think of because I was blinded by my emotion.
Right.
But we'll get into that on another show. We've actually made it to that point, guys. Again, I thank you for hanging out, pulling through. I know the beginning part was a little bit rough because we were, things were turned upside down. We had to go to a plan B really quick. And thank you for joining me and hanging out.
I'm plan B.
You're plan B. Thank you for hanging out with me, talking about this stuff today. I had no idea that this was where the show actually was going to go. And I'm thankful that I was able to talk through it and to get through it. And everybody that's out there and going through what we talked about today, I pray for you. I pray that you find the help, the solace, anything that it is that you need to get through what you're going through.
Right.
You can move forward from it. It is very scary, but you can make it through.
Yeah.
Just try to find the resources and people that can help, and remember that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys again on Survivor Girl Sunday. Guys, enjoy this weather. Get out there. Go for a walk. Get some sunshine before it's gone again because we're in Michigan and it's going every which way. So go enjoy it. Go have fun. Get out there. You guys smile, stay positive, and remember, life is best lived.